former BYU quarterback, Bears QB, Jim McMahon. First of all, happy birthday there, Mac.
Well, thank you, sir.
How are you going to celebrate?
I'd make it this far.
How are you celebrating today with the birthday?
Well, we just got up. We're fixing to have a little breakfast here. I'm actually at a friend's house in Colorado, and it's his birthday on Sunday, so we're having a little get-together here. We're going to go play some golf today and relax.
You sound good.
I feel good. I feel good. It's been a rough ride. I had a little rough week in Chicago last week. Kind of bumped my head a little bit again. Had to go see my head doctor, but other than that, I feel pretty good.
Well, what were you doing that you bumped your head?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Really?
Yeah, I put a little gash in my forehead. Couldn't figure out where I hit it, though.
Well, man, 2 years ago, I was worried about you. Now, I mean, this is as good as I've heard you sound in a long time. So what's changed?
Well, these doctors figured out what was wrong with me, and they figured out how to keep the fluid flowing in my brain so it doesn't back up. So when it does, I have to go get a little adjustment, and it lets all the fluid out of my head, and I can act fairly normal.
And this is from football, that you have this fluid building up in your brain?
There's no doubt about it. My C1 and 2 were twisted 25 degrees. It was literally choking off my spinal fluid. And then I found out that I had a break at C6 and 7. They were cracked and compressed. So at some point in my career, I had a broken neck that nobody told me about. So other than that, I feel pretty good.
You played with a broken neck?
Yep.
Man. Is there a chance this can help out any other players?
Yes, I've all my friends that are having the same problems I've had. I sent them to those doctors, and they're having success. At least their pain's going away. That's what he told me. He can't reverse the damage that's been done because once that spinal fluid sits on your brain like that, it definitely eats away. It can eat away bones, so it definitely eats away the brain. So whatever damage is done. But he can at least keep the pain down and have me functioning fairly normal.
And then when you heard the Eric Kramer story, what?
I just a friend of mine texted me that yesterday while I was on the plane. I had no idea. I still don't know the story. I know that I guess he shot himself, and he's still alive. That's all I know.
Yeah, he said they thought that it was an apparent suicide attempt for the former Bears quarterback there. But do you hear this with other guys? I mean, we obviously had with Dave Durison and Junior Seau, and I mean, how do you guys talk about this? Depression?
Well, we're beginning to now when we get together. I mean, like I said, I was with Dave probably 2 months before he did that to himself, and I couldn't imagine doing that to myself until I started having the same kind of symptoms. You know, the pain gets so bad, and you get so frustrated. You know, there's no other. You know, you figure there's no other way out. But at least these guys, thank God, these doctors contacted me and were able to help me out, and I send all my friends to them now.
But if they didn't contact you, though, Mac?
Say again?
If they didn't contact you, what kind of shape would you be in?
I probably wouldn't be here. If I was, I'd probably be a vegetable by now because that fluid sitting there for that long, it's just going to eat away at the brain. So at least now I know I know when I start having my symptoms, start having headaches, my mood gets a little off, and my equilibrium's been really bad. But at least I know there's help. I can go and get it adjusted, and at least the pain goes away.
He's Jim McMahon, the former Bears quarterback, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. I read where there's a 30 for 30 on ESPN on the 85 Bears. Did you talk to ESPN about that? Yeah,
they were at my house last week doing the interview, and it was pretty cool to relive some of those memories.
Anything that when you go back that what's your favorite story that you tell that sort of encapsulates the 85 Bears?
Well, I like to tell the story about the Monday night game that we lost. I wasn't playing that night, and Walter was going for his 9th or 10th 100-yard game in a row, which is going to be a record. So basically my night was just keeping his stats until Ditka finally decided to put me in the game late in the game. And he puts me in. He said, "Look, we're going to throw this ball here." And I said, "Okay." So I got in the huddle and I said, "Look, guys, we're down 14 points. There's 6 minutes to go. Who cares if we win this game?" I said, "We're already in the playoffs. Let's get this man the record that he deserves." And to a man, they all said, "Let's do it." And so when we got to the line of scrimmage, Mike knew I didn't call that play, and so he started yelling. And I gave it to Walter. He busted up there for about 15 yards, and Mike burned our last time out. So I walked over, and he's screaming and yelling. And I said, Mike, there's nothing in our pass game that gives us that many yards. They're rushing 3 guys, dropping 8. And I said, now Walter only needs about 10 or 15 for his record. And he really had no clue what I was talking about because he was so mad at me. And finally kicked in, and he said, "Oh yeah, we'll get him his record, but first we're going to do this." So I go back in the huddle. I said, "Boys, it's really going to hit the fan now, but we're going to run this thing again." And when we got to the line, I looked over, and Mike knew I didn't call the play. And he tried to throw his headset at me, but it was clipped to his side. It's kind of swinging around his body, and then he threw the clipboard, and Walter got another 10 or 15 yards, and I said, "All right, now let's try to win this game." That's how that team was, very unselfish. Like I said, we didn't care. It would have been nice to go undefeated, but I just felt getting him that record was worth more than going undefeated at that point.
Could you have gone undefeated?
Well, I think we could have won that night had we not panicked and started throwing the ball all over the field. I mean, they had the worst rush defense in the league that year. Walter could have ran for about 300 that night if he let them, but we got down early, and then Mike decided we're going to start throwing the ball like we were a throwing football team, which we weren't.
I can't.
Just got out of hand.
But I still, one of the more amazing things is when Buddy Ryan is being carried off after you win the Super Bowl, and then Ditka's being carried off. So at the same time, with different, like the defense is carrying Buddy off. Did you ever worry that those two would actually go at each other and fight, Ditka and Buddy Ryan?
Well, it wouldn't have been much of a fight, but they went at it for the whole time that Buddy and him were together. The first 4 years I was there. I mean, it was every day at practice, every day, during game day. It was quite hilarious to sit and watch your two coaches going at each other, and we're trying to win ball games. I mean, we won because we had great players, and we had pretty good schemes also. But to watch those two, it was pretty comical.
Oh man, did you ever worry about Ditka taking a swing at you?
Oh, yeah, many times. I thought he was going to choke me many times. I wanted to take a swing at him a few times. But with those jaws, it's like a pit bull, man. Those big jaws from chewing that gum, I figured I'd break my hand again. So.
Yeah, he's still a pretty tough guy.
Oh, yeah, he still is a tough guy. He's a great football player. I would have loved to play with him. I would have loved him to be in my huddle. At least he would have known I understood what I was doing, rather than he thought I just did things to make him mad.
Could you have played
I was trying to win ball games.
Could you have played differently?
I don't think so. I mean, I only knew one way to play. Just give it all you got on every play, and if you get hurt, you get hurt. Those things happen, but I never worried about getting hurt. I just worried about winning.
You care about this Brady story?
No, it's all anything that has to do with the Patriots and Bill Belichick, I can care less.
Why?
I was with Bill in Cleveland in '95. He lied to me right to my face, so I never trusted him after that. So all this stuff that happens, I'm sure he's right in the middle of it.
What? Why was he lying to you?
Well, I was there in '95. All they had was Vinny Testaverde, and they had just drafted a kid, what's his name, Zaire, out of Georgia.
Eric Zaire.
The only two QBs they had.
Yep.
And so he told me they were going to have to release me after training camp. I said, that's fine. I didn't really want to be in Cleveland. And then he said, no, we really want you here. Mr. Modell said, we're going to take care of you while you sit out. You might have to sit out 1 or 2 weeks. So he said they were going to pay me. I ended up sitting out 7 weeks, and I still haven't gotten paid. Because I told him, I said, look, don't screw me around. If I'm going to be here, I move my family here. I have to find a hockey team for my sons. There's a lot going on. I wouldn't have moved to Cleveland just to move to Cleveland. So I sat there for 7 weeks just playing Firestone and just waiting for my checks that never came. But and so after they released me after week 10, I still haven't gotten paid. So I don't trust any of those guys.
You consider him a cheater?
I know he's a liar, but cheating ain't far behind, I would think.
But the whole ball thing, I know it's a silly rule, but it's still a rule. Was it something like did somebody take care of the footballs for you for your liking, or
I never saw the balls until game time, so I really didn't care. I was wearing gloves anyway, so whether they had too much air or not enough, I would have never known.
You're playing golf today?
Yes, sir.
What's your handicap now?
Oh, it's still lack of a short game.
Are you going barefoot?
Oh, of course. Of course. These feet ain't getting any better, kid.
And do you have a bag of Coors Lights with you?
Yeah, you know it. We don't go to the range. We go to the cooler first.
I know. You don't hit balls. When we played out in Tahoe, I love that your poor son is carrying your bag, and you made him go get like a 12-pack of Coors Lights with ice in it. So he's got the bag, and then he's got the beers in the bag, and then all of a sudden you started playing well.
Well, I don't play well when I'm normal.
Hey, happy birthday. Great to hear from you. You sound great. And
okay, Dan, appreciate it, buddy.
All right, have fun in Colorado. All right, that's Jim McMahon.